Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to do some operations related to a string variable. So first, let's talk about how to convert a number variable into a string variable. So let's see here. I first created a variable called Fox. It's a new variable because this variable has never appeared before in my coding. It's brand new, it's first time. So actually assign an integer value to this variable called Fox. And then if I want to print out the type of this variable, it's going to tell me it's going to be an integer. And then I want to do some operation with this variable because this variable has an integer value, so it's an integer variable. And then I can use this function string str to transform this integer variable into a string. So let's print out the output of the transformation. Let's see here. If I run it, and it will tell me that the class of this variable Fox is integer, which means the type of it is integer. And if I print out the transformed result, it's going to be 10. Well, it seems that there is no difference. Well, however, actually this 10 is no longer an integer, it's a string. It's same as to print out this quotation marks and inside 10. So let's do it. If I print out quotation marks with 10, the result's still going to be 10 here. But this 10 is not the same as this 10 here because the 10 here is a string value. It's not an integer. Okay, so let me show you why here. So let me use the string value of Fox to update the variable Fox first. So if I use string Fox, so applying string function to Fox to create a new value, that's going to be a string. And then assign this value to the existing variable Fox. So I can update Fox in this way. So if now I print out Fox again, and I print out the type of this variable, let's see what's going to change. So see first, when I first assign the integer value to Fox, and I print out the type of Fox, it tells me it's an integer. And then when I print out the string function of Fox, the output is going to be 10. It seems that there is no change, but if I use the string function of Fox, I use the value, the output of this function, which is going to be a string 10. I use the string 10 and assign it to the existing variable called Fox to update it because the Fox appeared already previously. So once I update the value of Fox and I print out Fox again, it's going to be 10 again. It seems that there is no change. However, if I print out the type of Fox, you notice that the class of Fox has changed into string. So the Fox is no longer having the same value as before, even though when we print it out, it's going to be the same base value. So now, what if like I type a float number here, 10.0? Let's see what's going to happen here. So if I assign value 10.0 to Fox, so Fox basically is a float variable. So if I print out the type of Fox, it tells me Fox is a float variable. And if I print out the string of Fox, it's going to be 10.0 here. And now I want to use the string of Fox to update the Fox's own value. And print out Fox again, it's going to be 10.0, which means that Fox has already been updated into a string value of 10.0. And now I want to print out the type of the updated variable Fox. It's going to be a string variable, which means that Fox is becoming a string variable. That's how we can apply this string function to convert a number, either be an integer or float, into a string. So once we have a string, we can do a lot of other operations with a string. So let me show you some very basic functions that we can do with string. So we can do addition, which means that we can add two string variables together. Or we can do multiplication by times a string variable with an integer value. So let me show you what that means here. First, let's create a new variable called grocery. And we're going to assign this value, the string value, apple, to this variable called grocery. And now if we want to print out this part, grocery plus another text, another string called pear, if I want to print it out, it becomes like this, apple, pear. So what does addition here mean is that when both variables or both parts are string, when we want to add them together, basically the text they are actually put together. That's what here means addition. So sometimes you may find it so hard to read when you put two strings together. So a lot of times people will add a space in between to make it more readable. So how to add a space? Basically, you can use single quotation marks or double quotation marks here. And here, I'm just going to add a space here by using single quotation marks and add a plus sign. So now if I want to print out this whole part, and you can see the output becomes apple, space, pear. So that's addition. And of course, here, I'm adding the text value pear. You can also assign pear to a variable. So let's see here. If I want to create a variable called fruit and assign the value of pear to this variable called fruit. And now if I want to print out grocery plus space and plus this variable called fruit, and you can guess what's going to happen is that I'm going to have this output apple because the value of grocery is apple, and then the space will become the space here, and the value of fruit will be here, pear. So now I have apple, space, pear. Okay, so another operation we can do is multiplication. We can actually multiply any text with an integer. For example, you can print out grocery times number 2, and let's see what's gonna happen here. Let me just comment down this print out line and just print out grocery times 2. Let's see what's gonna happen. See, now you have 2 apple, and then you're just gonna repeat the spelling of apple again. That's what here means, the 2 here means. You basically want to repeat any text, then you can multiply the text with the right number. If you multiply it with 3, basically you're going to repeat apple 3 times. So that's how you can do it. And if we assign a string value, let's say 10 to apple, because grocery has a string value of 10. Remember, this is not an integer, it's not a number, it's a string because it has quotation marks outside. So if we now times this string value of 10 with 3, let's see what's going to happen. You just repeat 10 3 times. That's what the multiplication here will do for you. Okay, so now since we focus on string variable in this video, and let me also show you something. In reality, you may have a long string content. For example, this is a long sentence. And inside the sentence, I also have a word that has been quoted, right? I have single quotation marks for this content. So basically, if you want to assign this value to a variable called report, you can no longer use single quotation marks or double quotation marks because the sentence is too long for one reason. For another reason, inside the sentence, inside the content, you already have quotation marks. So to differentiate the nature of this content from its own quotation marks, you can use triple quotation marks outside this content to quote it. And if I use triple quotation marks here, I can print out the value of report, and you can see that the content inside the triple quotation marks have been printed out here, and the double quotation marks have been retained perfectly. So that's how, when you have a long string, you want to use triple quotation marks. Okay, so I do have a homework for you. I want you to tell me, probably in the comment section, what's going to be the output for this expression. Can you type the answer in the comment section? Well, I look forward to seeing your answer there. Thank you.